Hey guys, it's Adam. I got a super fun, cool video for you today where I'm actually sharing 5 of the most unique, popular, famous properties here in Denver, Colorado. You're not gonna wanna miss this one, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, so as I said, today's gonna be different. I'm gonna be sharing with you 5 of the most famous, eccentric, just really, really cool properties here in Denver, Colorado. Before I get started, as always, my name is Adam Lang. I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver. All that info down below. I would love to connect with you guys. I've got a ton of free resources, different guides, all kinds of good stuff. I'd love to share them with you, so feel free to reach out. But as I said, today let's go ahead and get started talking about 5 of the most famous homes here in Denver. So let's just jump right into it. So number 1 is going to be actually out slightly west in an area called Evergreen. Sometimes people also refer to this area as Genesee. And this is a house that has been around since the 60s. And since back in the 60s, it has just been a very talked about, very unique, famous home. And that's because it's known as the sleeper house. And a lot of people actually just call it the UFO house. And as you can see, it is literally a UFO on the top of a mountain and such a cool, unique house. So this one is actually famous because it was featured in a Woody Allen film called Sleeper back in the day. And it's also, I think, really famous just because anytime you're on I-70, which is our major west-east interstate that takes you up to all the ski mountains from Denver, anytime you're on I-70 and you're driving up through Evergreen up into Genesee, you can always see this really cool, unique house is at the top of the mountain. And, since I can remember as a little kid, I always just, would look up and see this house and just wonder, who lives there? What does this house look like on the inside? Just all these questions would always pop into my head when I would see it driving by. And I'm not alone on that one. I think this is probably the most famous house in all of Denver, and that's why I wanted to put it as number 1 on my list. So it was actually designed by an architect by the name of Charles Deaton back in 1963, and it's really renowned for that clamshell design, very modern, and just such a unique, futuristic type house. Almost looks like something that the Jetsons would live in. It actually spans over 5 levels, has 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a state-of-the-art kitchen, and a really cool top-level master suite. One thing that's kind of unique is despite its iconic status as the sleeper home from the Woody Allen movie, it actually remained unfinished for decades. It wasn't completely finished until actually 2003, so almost 40 years after initially being built. Technically, it's actually in unincorporated Jefferson County, but for any of you that haven't seen it before, just next time you're driving up to the ski mountains, just take a look off to the left and you'll see it on top of the mountain, right when you're going through the Evergreen, Genesee area. It's about 25 minutes west of downtown Denver. All right, so now let's jump right into the second most famous, unique house in all of Denver, and that's gonna be the Molly Brown house. This is located in Denver's historic Capitol Hill neighborhood, and it's located at 1340 Pennsylvania Street. If you're not familiar with who Molly Brown is, check out the movie Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm sure everybody watching this has seen it at one time or another. She was one of the most famous characters in the movie and was just known as an incredible philanthropist and one of the only survivors off of the old Titanic disaster way back in the day. This Queen Anne style residence was actually home to Molly Brown, but since then it has turned itself into a museum and just a historical building that gets a ton of tourists and visitors just to see all of the cool history and just learn more about the remarkable life of Molly Brown. In addition to learning all about Molly Brown's life and all of the activism that she was involved in, this is also a really cool tour to do just because of how unique this Victorian style home is and just how perfectly maintained and really preserved it is here over 100 years later. One other really cool fact about this Molly Brown house is back in the 1970s, it was actually almost completely demolished, but luckily the Denver Historical Society was able to get it saved and now had the commitment of preserving it forever here in Denver, Colorado. Next time you're in downtown Denver, definitely take a walk over and check it out. It's in a really centralized location in walking distance to Cheeseman Park, Civic Center Park, and even the Colorado State Capitol. Definitely take a look next time you're in town and let me know what you think. All right, so jumping now into number 3. This one is a little bit to the north of Denver in Boulder. And unfortunately, it's famous for not a very positive reason, and actually a very sad and depressing story, which is all about JonBenet Ramsey. If you remember, now almost 30 years ago in 1996, this was the talk of the town, national news, all about this very beautiful young girl that was a beauty queen and how she was murdered in her home. And still to this day, there's speculation on who even was the person that killed her. You know, there's a lot of rumors about it being her father. A lot of others have even talked about it being her younger brother. She was only 6 years old at the time, and again, it's just a horrible story. But this house has really been plagued ever since. It's been for sale for close to 30 years and had a really hard time ever finding a serious buyer. It's located on 15th Street, which is just a little bit west of the Hill, University Hill, which is just where all the bookstores and kind of the top part of CU Boulder's campus. It is still a beautiful home. It's over 7,500 square feet. It has a very unique Tudor style to the home's design. It's 5 bedrooms, has multiple different living areas, and a pretty unique penthouse primary suite. It's gone through extensive renovations since the disaster back in 1996, and actually most recently it was for sale in 2023. It was listed at just under $7 million, and after several months of no serious offers on the home, they ended up taking it off the market. One thing that I always thought was really unique about this JonBenet Ramsey house is I went to college up in CU Boulder, and all around where this home is located are some of the most beautiful homes. A lot of them are actually now sorority houses and just some of these other very historic homes that from the outside, when you're just driving by on the street, don't really look like much, but it is incredible how much larger they actually are once you see an aerial view or are able to even tour some of these homes on the inside. Obviously, this one has some pretty creepy backstory to it, and I'm not sure if I'd feel comfortable even walking through the house. And I think I'm probably not alone on that reason. That's why it's been having a very difficult time selling over the last 25 years. So the 4th famous house is going to be in Cherry Hills Village. This is where a lot of the most popular, famous celebrities from Denver live. Some beautiful homes in this area. And the home that I'm sharing with you was actually purchased back in 2023 by Russell Wilson and his wife, Ciara. Ciara is a famous singer, and Russell Wilson was actually hired to be the Denver Broncos quarterback a few years back before he did not do very good. He was kind of a bust. The reason I wanted to share this house with you is because it actually set a record for being the most expensive home to ever be sold in Denver. It was sold for $25 million, and believe it or not, it was over 20,000 square feet. One thing that I thought was unique was even though it's over 20,000 square feet, it was only a 4-bedroom house. However, it did have 12 bathrooms. It also has a basketball court, indoor pool, a guest apartment, and it sits on over 5 acres. If you want to look it up online, its address is 10 Cherry Hills Park Drive. And again, that's in Cherry Hills, which is slightly to the south and a little bit to the west of downtown Denver. If you guys are Denver Broncos fans like you know I am, I was not that happy with the pick of having Russell Wilson be our next quarterback. So I was glad to see him leave. And kind of some icing on the cake was when he did get fired from the Broncos and ended up needing to sell this house, he ended up taking a $3.5 million loss. He ended up selling it for only about $21.5 million. Obviously, it's a beautiful home, and hopefully the next buyers that got it after him and Ciara are making good use of the home and really enjoying that beautiful setting that it's located in. All right, and then saving the best for last, maybe? Number 5 is gonna be up in Evergreen, so kind of close to that first property that I shared with you that looks like a spaceship, the sleeper house, but this number 5 house is going to be known as Chateau Number 5. And this is a very unique style home. It looks like a Palace of Versailles, and it's been listed for as much as $60 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $60 million. It's 21,692 square feet, and it sits on over 35 acres on the top of just this incredible plot of land with 360-degree views of the mountains, tons of open space, and just some incredible views. One unique thing about this property, and rather than even calling it a house, I'm calling it a chateau, It has over 120 very palatial chandeliers throughout the home, some really gothic architectural elements scattered throughout, and definitely the ultimate when it comes to luxury and just opulence. The craziest part, though, in my opinion, about this house, it was actually sold only a few years back in 2021 as more of an unfinished shell. It hadn't been completely finished at the time, but it sold for only $9.5 million. And I know that sounds crazy to say only $9.5 million, but when you're comparing that with the current listing price in 2025 of $60 million, I don't know, that seems like a pretty big difference in price. As I said, this is nestled in the hills of Evergreen, so it's about a 35 to 40-minute drive west of downtown Denver, and I think still one of the coolest homes and definitely the most unique in all of Denver, mainly just due to its high price point and it's just such a unique style of home, literally being a castle on top of the mountain. Alright guys, so that's all 5 of what I think are the coolest, most famous, definitely unique homes in the entire Denver area. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different than what I typically do on these weekly episodes of Living in Denver. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, feel free to reach out. All my info's down below. I've got a ton of great value that I can provide you, as well as a monthly online free masterclass that I'm hosting. It's this homebuyer webinar that I've been putting on, and it's getting a ton of really good feedback. I'm just sharing a lot of real life examples and tools and tactics that actual people, customers and clients of mine are doing today to win in this very unique Denver real estate market. I would love for you guys to attend the next one, so you can feel free to reach out and get all that info again down below. And more than anything else, you guys, I love making videos like this. I hope you guys can like and subscribe to make sure you're the first to receive every new episode as it comes out on a weekly basis. And until next week, I can't wait to share another one with you. I'll see you guys on a brand new episode next week. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Bye.